Your horny ear, like your ears.
My, what, you're gonna get us banned already.
No,
Jeez,
no.
oh Pete. Boom, and then it just ended.
Whoa, that was cool.
I thought I had the intro I thought I had the outro on that video, but apparently I did not. But hey, welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve. I am Steve Harper. With me, as always, is the amazing, illustrious Dr. Asha Prasad. Dr. Asha, how are you doing
Illustrious.
today?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you?
Did you just mouth illustrious?
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was just trying to get that to settle in. I'm like, is that the word of the day, or
I look
do
like
you
a
have a word of the
gangbender.
day?
Why is my hat so jacked up? That's the word of the day. Don't ask me to spell it.
I was just gonna ask you that. That's
I don't
funny.
even know if it's with an A or an E or a Z or P.
I would say with an I, right?
Yeah, maybe, probably.
I don't know.
I don't know. You're way smarter at that stuff than me. Today has been a day and a half, so I'm hoping our show goes off without a hitch.
I hope it goes well too.
I mean, you're gonna have to carry us through today, but I'm excited because we're back live streaming. This is the second live stream of 2022. It only took
Yes.
us till February to do it, so
Hey,
hey, we're
second month,
here. That's all that
second
matters,
one.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
How's your day going so far?
It's going pretty good. I mean, it's the evening here, so I'm done with it. I've put it behind me, and yeah, excited to be here.
Kimberly's on board with us. I
Hey,
love that
Kimberly.
emoji.
I love that.
That's
That's
how I look
great.
at the dentist when I'm like, "Hey, check me out. Look at that." Great to be here. Thanks for being here, Kimberly. Um, illustrious.
See, it is
There
with
you
an
go.
I. Oh, thank you, Kimberly.
See,
Okay,
wasn't I told you it wasn't with a P.
a P.
I'm illustrious. That's what I am. I'm illustrious.
That's
Well,
funny.
so what are we talking about today? So this is going to be kind of a quick episode, a quick live stream, which will become an episode, right? I
Right.
mean, at the end of the day, but if
Well,
I get
what
to
we're
it.
talking about today, this is actually a really, I mean, this question has come up quite a bit, and I think it's really important. It's what questions could you be asking or should you be asking your clients right now?
Yeah. No, this is
It's a good one.
I was excited when we came up with this topic because I have questions that I ask. What are some of the questions that you ask for your business that you think people
Yeah.
could potentially emulate and do?
I mean, I think one of the most important things that I always ask on a periodic
My head
basis
don't work.
is Steve and
I
his
think my
hat,
head
he's
is
having
just
issues.
awkward. I
I
don't know.
think you know what? You should just turn it like do it to the side, Steve. There you go. There you
Yo, yo.
go. Oh man, Steve's in
That's
here
our other
today.
live stream. Dr. Asha Prasad and I rap.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's a members only thing, though. You've got to be part of
Yeah,
the
really.
community to get those special invites for sure. So,
No,
sorry,
that's
you were
true.
saying.
Yeah. So, you know what? One of the most important questions that I always ask is what's your pain point right now? Like
Ooh,
what is it right now like in this moment? Because a lot of times, we get caught up in like just like the usual working with them and doing things and I think it's always a good I don't know, a good thing to just kind of check in with them. What is your pain point? What are you struggling with right now in this moment?
yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
one. I really like that. The question that I tend to always ask, and we do this a lot for our software company, is
Mhm.
what can we be doing to make the experience working with us better?
Yeah,
And
that's a
I have
great one.
actually always asked that question for as long as I've ever sold a product or service. I've always tried to focus in on, hey, you've given me some money, you're doing business with me,
Exactly.
but what could we be doing differently to
Yep.
just make this experience that much better? Kimberly actually just said, Steve, I don't know what SMH stands for. What does that stand for?
I have no idea.
One of my guys at my software companies always tell me, is it like a shrug? I don't understand. Kimberly, do tell.
Kimberly, we're gonna need to we know that one.
Yeah, that one is, or as my wife would say, she actually says, yeah, and in the text they put laughing out loud or laughing often a lot or something. I don't know what she comes up with some crazy
I thought
thing.
it
I'm
was
like,
lots of love,
or
you know?
lots of love. That's what she says. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't spell out the emoji.
Yeah, no, no, you don't.
Except for Kimberly, we do need to know what the
Yeah,
Silly.
that one we needed.
Shaking my
I
head.
do.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense then.
That
When I
makes a
get that
whole
on
lot of
Slack.
sense.
Oh,
Steve, that makes a whole lot of sense that you get that a lot.
oh, wow.
I love it.
That's impressive. I'm going to have to absolutely I'm going to write that on my board because every time I get it, I'm
Yep.
like, what's this millennial guy telling me? I don't understand.
I don't understand. You know what, Steve, I wanna follow up with what
Oh,
your
and that
oh,
wasn't
you're
at our question. That
yeah,
was just at my hat and yo, yo,
yeah,
yo.
that makes sense.
She's up in Oklahoma, so that yo, yo, yo probably
Okay,
like really scared her off. I'm not sure.
I'm sure it did.
Well, so let's go back to your question that you're asked about the pain
Mhm.
point. In
Yeah,
when I mean, I could see that you do that when you're engaging a new consulting client or new coaching client, but
mhm,
and obviously as a health practitioner, you probably that's a pretty big question to ask as to why they're
yeah.
coming to see you, right? But it's sort of the crux of everything, right? So
It's the
how do
crux
you
of
leverage it?
everything. I mean, Steve, here's the thing, checking in with people, this is the thing I've realized a lot lately too, and I've seen this in my own business, I've seen it in my coaching clients with their businesses as well, is that we kind of put our heads down and get to work, which is fine, but we sometimes forget that we are dealing with people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we need to know what's going on with people. We need to check in. Doing that will build and actually connect make your relationship that much stronger with your client, no matter what it is, if it's an individual, a group, a company, whatever it is, asking them what their pain point is, because everybody is dealing with something, some sort of struggle at every given time. I mean, every given moment. I mean, think about it, as a business owner, as an individual, whatever it is, we're all dealing with it. And I think by asking that helps it, first of all, it lets them know that you're not just kind of going through the motions in autopilot mode, that you're
Hmm.
actually checking the pulse as you're going along, and that really speaks volumes to a lot of people. It really
So
does. It really, yeah.
so once they've revealed it and then you guys
Yeah.
have discussed it, is that a question that you continue to ask
Absolutely.
continually
I mean,
or
yeah, I mean, I think it is something that you continue as first, I'm gonna ask them is, of course, after we discuss it, if it's something that I can do to help, if it's something
yeah,
that our services can help, or if I know somebody that I can refer them to, then I'm gonna be stepping in at that point and saying, "Okay, here's something that I can do to help you, or here's something that I know somebody, let me put you in contact with this person." So then that way you just help them with that. It is something that I do ask, not all the time, but I do like to check in at least once a quarter, depending on who the client is or how I'm working with them, at least once a quarter to be able to check in with them. Because the other thing that follows up, and it follows up with your question as well, is that I like to ask is like, okay, what are we doing to that is helpful to you, and what may we be doing that you'd like to see differently,
yeah,
or that's not working, that really just isn't. That way you get to be able to tweak your services or your way of delivering, and that way that whatever you're delivering is right on target for them.
absolutely. And I think that these questions, when we said it, we kind of framed it for all intents and purposes, like for business
Mhm.
owners, business leaders, but really at any juncture, you could ask this on some of the most important business relationships you
Yeah.
have, some of the most personal relationships, even family, right?
Yes.
This continual approach to asking questions, I think, is key to
Mhm.
figuring out and developing whatever that relationship is. And I think specifically when I first put this on, kind of as, hey, this one resonates for this topic, is because I think when I work with a lot of business owners, they don't spend the time asking questions after
Yeah.
they've landed a client. Now, we're really good at asking questions to uncover needs, to turn a
Yep.
prospect into a customer, but really a lot of people think that, well, that I already landed the business, why do I care, right? Beyond
Exactly.
this, I mean, we already got their money or they're already using our product or service. But really at the end of the day, the questions never stop. And in fact, I think
No.
to a certain degree you ask a lot more questions to keep
Yeah.
that individual or that company engaged with you even that much more. I think it's super critical.
Yeah, I think it's important for the relationship building part of business.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being a transaction, because it's true, we do get caught like, okay, the transaction's already happened. I don't need to ask anything. Let's just do whatever I was hired to do, which is, good to do the work. But it really is about building that relationship.
Okay, so I'm going to reverse psychology this.
Oh boy.
What
I
is your
can see
current
it.
pain point for
My
you as a business owner?
as a business owner,
I mean, you can't
um
answer, "Hey, I have this co-host on a podcast I do.
that likes to rap.
The guy is
No.
completely whacked. I don't know if he's on some sort of drugs. I don't know what the issue is."
You know you know what? My biggest pain point right now is really, streamlining more of what I'm doing, what I personally am involved with, and I am getting I mean, this has been a work in progress,
Wait, is
but
this not the advice that you've been giving on all these episodes? Like, "Hey, you need to delegate. You need to do."
hey, I give the advice that I experienced myself.
Yeah, well, that's
I
good.
mean, seriously, it is true. It's so funny because a friend of mine was listening to my podcast or whatever, and she's like, "Asha," she's like, "Do you just, like, just put it out there, like, exactly what you're going through?" And I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much. I am." I mean, because, Steve, I feel
You're
you
an
know
open
this
book.
too.
Yep,
We learn from our own experiences, and that's the way we can help and teach other people.
yeah.
So, I think that that's one of the biggest things. So that's I would say that that's my biggest pain point right now,
You
right in
sort
this
of
moment.
following the advice we've put out there over the last, couple of episodes
Mhm.
about, being in control, delegating, taking the things off your plate, letting go of some of that stuff, right? And
Well, really about streamlining it more, like,
streamlining. Okay.
really about streamlining it more. I mean, I am fortunate now that I'm getting more people on board that are in alignment with exactly what it is that I'm doing and what I stand for, which is really feels refreshing. So
Yep.
now it's just a matter of just streamlining it and figuring out, okay, I absolutely don't need to be involved in that anymore. That person can take it and run. Okay, great. I can that frees up time to do other things. So
Absolutely. If you
yeah. How
just
about
happen
you,
to be
Steve?
joining us, we're talking about today what questions you should be asking your clients or the important people in your life. We've expanded it to that because the questions reveal a lot about where somebody is, how you're potentially treating them as the client of your service or, a customer of your product. So this is kind of where it came, front and center. But we were just talking about how this could be expanded to almost every area of your life, to
Yeah.
every important relationship, right? So, and Dr. Asha's question that she likes to ask is, "What are your pain points?" My question when I put it out there was, what can we be doing to serve you better, right? Looking at it
Mhm.
from a kind of a perspective
Yeah.
of, even though we're currently working with you and we have your money and you're working with us to buy our
Yeah.
product or service, I want to secure that long-term business, keep you there and keep you working with us. So what can I do to make this experience that much better for you? So
Yeah.
just to catch up anybody that joined late, because we had a few that just popped on. So
Okay. So, Steve, let me ask you something. Like, do you want me to ask you your pain point? You're like, don't ask it. Don't do it.
there's so many freaking pain points at this point today.
Just one. Just one.
I would not be available to be provided with just one. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. So, you know what? Here's another question that I do like to ask. Then
Okay.
I'll ask you a different question then,
Oh
because
boy.
a lot of times what I'll ask a client is, okay, just let's wherever we are in this process, whether in a coaching situation, it's very different. But whenever you're working with somebody, a client, a customer, it's kind of like, okay, if you were to envision 6 to 8 weeks from now, what would success be in us working together? Like, what would the
Whoa.
success be? What would be the win that you would be like, "Yeah, this is such a great partnership." So
Uh, I can answer that question. So 6 to 8 weeks
okay,
from now, Dr. Asha will have taken so much off my plate that,
and what am
that
I doing with it?
I don't know, but it's off my plate. That's all I care.
Okay. Okay, for sure.
No, in all seriousness, I think that's a really good question because it sort of makes that person sort of evaluate where they are now and where they would
Mhm.
like to be in that 6 to 8 weeks time frame, right? So
Yes.
there's kind of a time bound of sort of a limit to how far out in the future you're
Mhm.
thinking, and ultimately puts you immediately into action mode. What do you want to see
Yeah.
different than you see today? And I think that's a really good one. Like for me, I have sort of I think I shared this in our last live stream was, I
Mhm.
kind of gotten away from, even though I tell everybody to do it, I've been doing it
Mhm.
religiously, but I was, coming I got back into the habit of just coming into the office and immediately getting to work. I wasn't meditating, I
Yeah.
wasn't journaling, wasn't reading. I wasn't doing the things that sort of center me and balance me. So I started doing those things. And what I've noticed is
Great.
huge uptick in terms of handling my stress levels, being a bit more relaxed, actually enjoying the process of
Mhm.
working a little bit more, and not feeling so kind of claustrophobic with everything I've got going on
Right.
relative day to day. So that has been huge. And so plan to continue that practice. So 6 to 8 weeks from now, I
Mhm.
should be like chill, like super chill, like Spicoli on Fast Times at Ridgemont High chill. That's how chill I'm gonna.
Okay.
I won't be popping out any vans, smoke filled vans or anything, but I'll
No,
be like,
exactly.
dude, I
Okay.
feel great. I
No,
mean,
but
that's my
yeah.
answer. I mean,
No,
if
but that's great,
I
Steve.
follow
I
the
mean,
plan, it should work, right?
but you know what? That's really great because doesn't it give you a sense like whenever you look at that and you're like, that's what I want to be experiencing, it just gives you that motivation and inspiration to like get up every day and just do what needs to be done, like what you need to do in order to have that.
It does, yeah, and there's a level of accountability when somebody asks you the question and you have to answer it like to that degree. It's like,
Mhm.
well, okay, good. Now we've got some sort of end game in mind, and you
Yeah.
can hold me accountable to that, so that when I am going off on one of my crazy wild tangents that people don't see when the camera is not on, you'd be like,
Yes.
"Hey, Spicoli, back off, calm down, hello, relax."
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's really powerful. And what I have actually found, kind of going back to my question, when I ask people the question I ask them, what can we be doing better to serve
Mhm.
you, make this experience better? It really is sort of mind blowing that people actually are like, do you care? I mean, like, you really
Yeah,
care? And it's like, yeah,
exactly.
absolutely, I care because
Yeah.
uh, I want you to love me forever, right? So
Right.
I want you to stay with my company. I want you
Yeah.
to love the people you work with, and I want to make sure that if you're not happy in any way, shape, or form, you tell me so that I can
Yeah.
try and fix it. Now there be maybe some things I can't do, but A,
Exactly.
if I don't ask, I won't know, and B, if I don't ask, you'll never have the opportunity to tell me
Yeah.
and at least get it off your chest like, hey, this little thing annoys me, or this little situation with I'm thinking more in lines with my software company, like this
Mhm.
feature I don't like, it doesn't work the way I want it to.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know you didn't like it because we didn't talk about it, and we didn't talk about it because I
Exactly.
wasn't asking the right questions, right? So I think in the end, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today, is those questions that are important to ask. You got to make sure that you apply them and
Yeah.
leverage them, because when you do, and people know you're coming at it from an authentic space, and you'll take that feedback or that input or that
Yeah.
answer and you'll be able to create some action out of it, then, well, that's where the magic is.
Yeah, I agree, and you know what, Steve? Just like what we're talking about, we're talking in business, but also personal relationships. I think one of the basis of really truly connecting with somebody and having and building that strong relationship is asking questions
Yes.
and really reaching out and letting people know that you understand where they're coming from or where they are. I mean, people want to be heard. And when they feel heard, it just opens them up so much more. You can build that lifelong, relationship in personal or business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the other questions that I like to ask my clients or my team is, what can I be doing to take something off your plate, right?
Mhm.
What can I do to help you
Yeah.
accomplish whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish? And like you said, sort of at the beginning with your question about the pain point, being able to say, look, can I get shoulder to shoulder with you? Can I,
Mhm.
be able to create some value here in terms of the interaction, and my willingness to contribute in some capacity, I think is really, really powerful. I have a coaching client that hasn't worked with me for a while because they kind of went
Mhm.
off and did something different career wise. And I reached out the other day and I just said, hey, it's 2022. I wanted to ask you, what can I be doing to help you in 2022? I'm not
Yeah.
looking for business. I'm not, and I don't want you to think I'm like, hey, are you ready to sign back up? Not that
Right.
at all. It was literally, hey, what can I be doing? And turned out that she actually had a very specific need, wasn't exactly sure where to go to get that need,
Mhm.
satisfied. And I said, it turns out that I happen to know somebody. And right, there's just no
Yeah.
level of expectation. Not, I'm not trying to get you back into my coaching cycle or anything. It's like, hey, look, I really want to contribute. I want to add, create a ripple for you, and do it just
Exactly.
because you're somebody I respect, admire, and I want to do good things for you. And
Mhm.
that turned out to be a huge, huge connection for her and her business. And no level of expectation for her to do anything, right? Not
Exactly.
asking for anything in return, but it built that relationship just that much stronger. And she's like, you know what? She came back to me this week. She's like, I miss working with you because I used to get this on a, couple of times a month basis, this stuff that
Right.
you just contribute and give. And it's like, look, you don't have to come back to me for coaching to get that, right? But
Exactly.
at the end of the day, I'm happy to work with you if you've got stuff to deal with. But those things really, just how can I be helping you, is a really powerful question to ask as well. So,
Yeah.
trying to figure out ways that you can, co-create or collaborate in some capacity, I think, with your existing clients or those important relationships is also another great way to look at this.
I think that that's great, Steve. I would like to ask our listeners if anybody's still joining us at this time, or even on the replay, you can definitely leave a comment
Yes.
of how we could be helping people.
Yeah. Oh,
You
that's a
know,
great question. Yeah. If you
what
happen to
can
have a
we
comment,
do? Yeah.
so we don't really actually see with this new platform, it doesn't show everybody that's watching. So,
Right.
but if, like you said, if you happen to leave a comment and if you're catching this on the replay, definitely let us know. If you happen to catch this on the podcast, most of those don't have a comment section, but you can find
Right.
this video on YouTube, our Conversations with Asha and Steve YouTube channel. So you'll be able to find it there.
Right.
Right now, I don't see any new comments coming in, so I'm not
Okay.
sure. They may have cut us off after I put my hat sideways and started to rap. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, Kimberly's like, yeah, you don't even know, shaking my head. I'm out of here. I'm leaving.
She's like, forget that.
But it's a good question. I mean, we want to know what can we be doing to add value,
Yeah.
additional, conversation topics, additional things that you'd like us to talk about in the future. We're totally all ears and happy to try and accommodate for sure. Well, I guess the whole point of this episode was really trying to get you to think about in terms of, those important, we started it like business, right? But those important
Hmm.
relationships that you have in your professional and personal life, those questions can be very, very powerful, and they're great ways to open up conversation opportunities, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yes, you know what? It can really be a big game changer. I mean, if you have a relationship, like for example, in family or friends or whatever, that has been, I don't know, kind of tense or on the rocks or whatever, this can really open. Wow.
Literally, I just threw a rock, like I dropped
Literally,
a
like as soon as
jeez.
so you could either throw a rock or
Tense or throw, wow. That was crazy. Sorry, that was perfect timing though. It's like, hey,
that was
sound
perfect
effects.
timing, Steve.
We're on a limited budget, but we do work on some elements of the show here. Sorry, you were saying. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, it you can really open it up. You can open up the communication lines by asking a question.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
asking a question that is going to be meaningful for the other person, that's gonna open them up, an open-ended question, and approaching it with the fact that you really do care and that you really are interested will really help open that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know one question that we could ask that
Sure.
the answers could be very revealing for us is,
Yeah.
when is the best time for us to do
Ah,
this
yes.
live stream? What
Yeah.
time is the best time for you guys? Because we know that we have people that tune into this from around the globe. And although we can't accommodate every time zone, but our mornings in the US better for you, which is early afternoons in
Mhm.
Europe, right?
Yeah.
Or is midday in the US and early evenings in Europe better for you? Is it, do you need us to do a late night conversations, or, you tell us what time frame works best for you. Dr. Osh is prepared to get up at 3 in the morning to accommodate
I
what.
was just gonna say, as long as you guys are prepared that I will have pajamas on. I
Yeah.
don't care. I've
With
done
the
it. You know what?
fuzzy slippers too, no doubt, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now, I don't mind. I mean, I have done, presentations and stuff like that literally in the middle of the night here. So, as long as I have I mean, I haven't worn my pajamas for that, but for this, I probably would.
I'm so disappointed that you didn't wear your pajamas. I think that would have been awesome.
That would I would never have gotten invited back at all. Probably, I'm sure.
I don't know what kind of pajamas you have if that's the case. I mean, that's another totally different stream that we should be.
Yes.
Well, so as we wrap up here, this is another great conversation topic. I always enjoy these. I learn as much, from your answers and just your approach to how you run your business and what you do, and it's very, very powerful for me. I know that comments that I've gotten from people that are tuning into our podcast,
Mhm.
catching the audio, or are catching these on the replays, maybe not participating all the time in our live streams, are really finding a lot of value. So Asha, how can people get in contact with us, and how can they learn more about you so that they can,
Mhm.
uh, hear about some of the great programs, some of the great things that you're working on as well?
So they can contact us on Facebook or Instagram, Conversations with Asha and Steve, or you can go to our website, conversationswithashaandsteve.com. Those are probably the best ways to contact us with any questions, comments, or anything that you'd like for us to cover or address. You can also drop a comment. If you're catching the replay on this, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe there. All of our episodes, actually, previous episodes are on there. So we've covered a lot of territory. And yeah, Steve is putting my website up there. To catch any of the things that I'm working on, you can go to drashaprasad.com, and I have a podcast and all of that good stuff. So you can check out some things there.
I will tell our listeners that you have to sign up at Dr. Asha Prasad so you get on her email list because she does some really cool stuff. The Monday, you call it a Monday motivational, right?
I
Basically.
call it mindful moments.
Mindful moments, yeah. And
Mhm.
so every Monday, she puts out some really great posts that really get you thinking, set you up for the week ahead. And I highly, highly recommend that you sign up for that. They are really, really, really good. And then for my stuff, I'm not as good, but I mean, you can check me out at
He's better.
ripplecentral.com. No, no, not at all. But however, you can follow me on social at Rippleon, RIPPLEON. You'll find me on almost every platform there is, including now TikTok, without dancing.
Yes.
I do not dance on TikTok.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know what, Steve? I love your TikTok. I'm on TikTok now too, but I'm not like you because I can't do it. But I mean, I do other things on TikTok, very calm, subdued things. So that's
yeah,
why. But
you are the calming voice on TikTok that everybody needs in comparison to all the craziness that's on there. Because it's like I watch this stuff and I'm like,
it's
I'm just
crazy.
I'm just
It's
old.
crazy. But Steve, before we leave our listeners today,
Mm.
please, please, please tell them about your upcoming event next week
Oh yeah. So next week
and
we're
tell
going to
them how
be
they can sign up.
yeah. So if you go to 8minuteripple.com, I host these events, networking events for non-networking people, right? So they are a way and an approach to help people connect and engage without the pressure of traditional networking. We are, thanks to COVID, doing these on line. So we're doing a
Mhm.
virtual 8 Minute Ripple, but they're just a lot of fun. We'll do it. It's a 2 hour event. You can come a little bit early, kind of chill out. There is pre-registration required. There's limited seating, and it does require some pre-homework, believe it or not, that we
Oh,
use during the Ripple.
okay.
But it's a heck of a lot of fun. And the Ripples, we just did our first one last month, and the Ripples that came out of that event were like unbelievable. Right? I just sat
That's
back and
awesome.
I've heard from several people that attended. They made connections and were so engaged that they wanted to get out and get to know these people a little bit more and contribute and
Mhm.
help. And there's there's some business dealings that are going on. There's some really
Right.
new collaborations that are happening. So these Ripple events are just a great way to sort of connect in a completely fun and engaged way that you probably have never experienced. So, yeah, next week it's happening on February 17th, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay.
Like I said, you got to be registered or pre-registered by the 16th if we still have slots available. So I'd highly recommend go to 8minuteripple.com, click the, register button, I think that we have there. They'll take you to our registration page
Right.
and you'll be off to the races. So
That's
yeah.
great, Steve. That's great. You know what? Leave a link in the comments so that way
Okay.
people that are catching the replay, so that way they'll get that, because those I tell you, I really miss those events. in person, of course, back in Austin. But I think it's wonderful that you're doing it online now. What a great way that people can participate from anywhere they are. So I
Yeah,
think
we
that's
had,
awesome.
we had people from Europe that attended, even though it was like the
Mhm.
middle of the night
Yeah,
last time. And then we've got somebody that supposedly is gonna try and join from South Africa, Mexico
wonderful,
City, Canada. Yeah, it's just a
wonderful.
really neat
That's
experience.
great.
And the nice thing about virtual, this is not yet another Zoom call, right? This is something that you are going to
Exactly.
come in and it's going to completely breathe life into your next meeting. Give
Yep.
you a different perspective on how to connect and engage with those people that you are having Zoom fatigue with probably,
Exactly.
but this isn't your average meeting. I promise you, it's a whole lot of fun. So definitely check it out, 8minuteripple.com. And yeah, so thanks for mentioning that, Asha. This has been great. I'm excited to be back very soon. We'll be doing another episode next week, I think, live stream.
Yes.
So based on the feedback that everybody gives us, we'll determine what day it is. So, stay tuned,
Exactly.
right?
We'll see.
Yeah, Conversations with Asha and Steve. Go to the website, go to our Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe to the Facebook group so that you become part of that community as well. And until next time, you guys take care.
All right. See you next time, Steve.
See ya.